I forgot to bring the normal camera over, so I don't know if the audio will be any good on this one. I did drill holes in that thing, so there's 12 and 8, 20 wire brads now reinforcing that, but I don't know that was a good idea after all, because the stuff's only 6mm thick, so the brads sort of pushed in here tended to split that. So I've applied a bit of glue, and it did that sort of to the sides and the bottom. So I'm thinking further, but I'm also getting hot, so time to retreat. Well, Sunday morning, so time for the Sunday ritual. We've drained the pressure accumulator and check the fuel level in the genset. There was another 23mm of rain this morning, so I've got a bit of a wet path down to the tap down there where the garden hose is. That's where once I turn the pump off, that's where I go to drain the excess pressure. And once I've turned that tap on, then I can go and release the valve that goes to the top of the pressure accumulator, and hopefully then the water drains out through that hose down there. Takes a little while. Fuel level's good in the genset. The tap is on down there. Now all I got to do is open that green valve up there and let the water drain out. So the water obviously gets up to the top of that accumulator, otherwise it wouldn't be in that pipe and bubbling as the air gets pulled through it. Because the water's draining down down out of this, across that one goes out to the garden. This one just goes across to a dead end over here where you can see it's dribbling a bit of water. So all the air that's in the top of that gets absorbed across the week. Or there's a pinhole leak. I think it's being absorbed. Okay, so it's stopped bubbling now. So now it's just a matter of draining out of that slowly. So what I'll do is I'll go and do some woodwork while I wait for that. Okay, I did a bit of sanding on these and tidied up some of the edges, but where you see the glue, that's where there is gaps between the bits of wood. So I've tried to force a bit more glue in there. So we'll see what happens there. But I've decided that yes, I've nailed that one, but I'm not going to nail these others. I'll see whether they fall apart. If they do, I got materials, I can build more. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment. I'll go and check the pressure accumulator now. Okay, drain valve's closed again. Turn the pump on. And it's probably, what, 35 seconds or so, that countdown timer. Because I think it's 0 to 60 seconds depending on where that pointer is. And we wait for this thing. Because if you see there, we've got water draining out still. When the pump comes back on, we get the pressure back up. That will seal. You can see it's draining quite quickly. Okay, so that should slow down. It says optimistically. No, it's still coming out. Got a bit of catch up to do. It does appear to have slowed down a little bit. Yeah, slowly catching up. No, not sealed yet. Not quite right. Yeah, just needed reseating, so that's good. One thing that gives me worries all the time is also this thing here. Looks like this is actually screwed on cross-threaded, but I don't dare muck with it in case it comes off and won't go back on. It'll blow off one day, then I'll lose the tank full of water before I find out. Oh well, it'll happen. Or it won't. Okay, time to lock up again. Work is a 7-day-a-week thing around here. So despite it being Sunday, they're still pounding whatever they're pounding. Piles, I guess. That started about 7 o'clock this morning, I think. And they seem to go until 6 o'clock at night, so it's a long day. Anybody who's got babies down that area, I wonder how they cope. I don't know if that keeps the children awake. Well, it's still there, as expected. Last night there was an earthquake, about 5.6 on the scale, about 80 kilometres south of here and at a depth of 37 kilometres, so definitely something we felt. What I suspect is going to happen is I'm going to possibly end up with more weeping on the tank. Let's go and have a look. There's nothing much on the front, nothing new. Doesn't appear to be anything major down the side there. This is all pre-existing. The construction of this is basically brick with render over it, with steel reinforcement columns at the corners and at the joins. Like there's a wall through here, making this into 2 separate tanks. And in the centre of each compartment there's a column to support the roof. The roof is it's basically the thickness of that you see there. 2 layers of reinforcement in it, so you could probably park the compact track loader on top of that. So the roof's not going anywhere, but the rendered brick, even though it's 200 mils thick, it could be a bit more vulnerable. And there's reinforcement rods through at various levels through the courses of brick. Well, I don't think there's any new weeps here. There's pre-existing ones. Maybe this one's a little worse than it was. Let's unlock and have a look. There doesn't look to be anything across the back, apart from there must be a leak near the bottom as that seeps out. The other thing is that this is actually, these tanks are both lined with 600mm square tiles, so it should only be leaking through the grout lines on the inside, but then it can come out through the bricks wherever it wants to, I guess. These that look grubby, these are probably, well, these are all pre-existing. Anything new would be clean, I guess, because it hasn't had time to get grubby yet. That's not leaking. Yeah, that's not sealed. It's doing a bit of weeping from there. Yeah, it's going to keep on doing that by the look of it. There is somewhere where it seats properly, but but I don't think I've found it. Aha. Still not right. Slower. Okay, I'll leave it at that. There's enough water leaking anyway that it probably doesn't matter that much. So on my theory that the grubby ones are the pre-existing ones, that could be new. It could be newer. And maybe these are newer. But I think what we really need is some sort of rubberized lining painted over the grout lines inside. But how the hell do you do that? We have to get the tanks dry to do that. So not really keen on the tanks being completely dry. What we'd have to do is next dry season make sure that we've used the front tank down as far as possible, pump the surplus into the back tank, well get as much as possible into the back tank, then drain the front tank, do the lining, and then hope that we got rain before the back tank dried out. Now, again, think further on that, but yeah, that's a pretty grubby one, that one. There's a nice slippery slime there. Oh well, time to look up. Well, I'm off to the shed again. Rained this morning, another 12 millimetres or so, I think. That's after 2 consecutive dry days, which means a total of 5 dry days this month with 1 day to go. So yeah, it is wet season. Currently I'm waiting for a can of spray paint and primer for those little wooden boxes. Waiting for that to come in from Shoppy. So I thought, okay, I really should do something useful. So I'm going to go over and start doing the cleaning that I'd been putting off until the place was made bird-proof. Is bird-proof now, so I'll go over and do a bit of vacuuming. I made a bit of a mess with that woodworking, so there's the dust from the planer everywhere. There's the bits of stuff been drilled out on the drill press. So yeah, there's that to clean up. There's bird poo over in the corner from sparrows sitting up there previously, and there's that mess on the floor there. So I wonder how far I'll get through that before I get too hot and sweaty. Glue's dried on these things. I should check these again. Well, that's enough vacuuming for me for 1 day. I've cleaned up the floor under there, cleaned up around the drill press, the floor here, and sort of cleaned up around the vise. There's too much other crap around here to get it all clean. The other thing to take into account over here is not only do we have sparrow poo, which will be a one-time cleanup, but then there's also lizard poo, which is a recurring thing, because we have little lizards that make poo much like a sparrow poo. So there'll be no end to that. There's no stopping them. Shibata came over just as I was reaching maximum duration, so she's cleaning in there now with a broom and dustpan, and I asked her to turn this off when she leaves. So just pumping a bit more out of the service pit. Well, it's Friday again. I didn't even bother taking any video yesterday. Didn't go across to the shed. Haven't been across to the shed yet today. But I got other things to do on the computer, so may get over there later. In the meantime, I better get a video done, uploaded. Yeah, so it's the 1st of March today, so I'll go and make sure I've got all my figures in for rainfall for February. I think it was about 440 mils, something like that, for the month. Yeah, another fine sunny day, so we'll have fully charged batteries. Yeah, well, enough.